What's going on, YouTube and it's your boy, the UnFadingRocket here, and it's time for another episode of Rocket Rants. Today's a special one because today is actually going to be about it's going to be a small little review of Avengers Endgame. Well, not really small. It's probably going to take up the bulk of the video. But anyways, it's time for this video. It's time for this series in general to finally reach maturity because we are at episode 18. And like I said, there's some small little video game subjects that I really want to discuss with you guys, but the primary focus is Avengers Endgame, right? And I apologize for that, I burped. I saw the movie on Sunday with my friends, right? And all I could say is that this movie, A-grade material. Seriously, it's like art. It's like the best movie I've seen of 2019 so far. Probably going to be the best movie I've seen all 2019 long, and I'm confident in saying that because I'm not sure what to expect from the Star Wars movie that's coming out this December. Plus, I'm not going to be watching the movie on Christmas Day, which is the release date I think they said for the Star Wars movie Episode 9. I think. Yeah, I'm not going to be spending my Christmas watching Star Wars, man. I'm spending that shit with my family. Let work first, but still, like. The Avengers Endgame, very, very good. This review is actually, obviously, before I even begin, spoilers. There's going to be some serious spoilers, of course. Now, before we even get into it, I might as well tell you guys right now, I'm going to separate it into, three separate sections. And then we're going to get into the negatives after I separate the three separate things. Now, the way that I review my movies, this is actually the first time I'm ever reviewing a movie, so bear with me here. It's probably going to be a little cringy. Probably might miss out on some stuff. So once again, bear with me. And if you guys have any kind of advice or opinions of your own that you want to put, you can leave it down in the comments below. So let's begin, anyways. We're going to divide it into three separate sections, right? I'm going to be talking about the overall flow of the movie, the stories, and the actors. So let's begin with the story, right? So the story is, I'm gonna have to spoil it, but I'm gonna try to mitigate as much spoilers as I can. But basically, the story is. My apologies, folks. Microphone got messed up. So what we were talking about was the story, right? So the story, I'm going to be glossing over a hell of a lot of the story because I'm not doing an in-depth review. After all, this is a rant, not you could call it a review. It doesn't matter. But still, basically, the main plot of the story is the Avengers tried to get the stones from Thanos, the present day Thanos, and here's the reason why I say present day Thanos, you'll understand. So they try to get the stones from present day Thanos. But basically Thanos destroyed the stones himself and injured himself in the process. So when they figured out that they couldn't use the present stones because he destroyed them, they out of all people, Ant-Man, who came back, Ant-Man came up with a brilliant idea to use time travel to go back in time and grab the stones before Thanos ever got his hands on them. And basically that's exactly what they do. But things go around, but along the way, shenanigans of course happens. But the most important part is that Nebula, the blue-haired girl, that's the sister of Gamora that you guys saw in Guardians of the Galaxy. Basically, her future self and her past self, when they were on the same timeline. Basically, the past self was able to see everything and got all the memory of the one that was from the present day Nebula. And Thanos, and she was loyal to Thanos at the time. She's not now, but in the past, she was loyal to Thanos. So Thanos basically went into her mind and got all of her memories about exactly what happens in the future. This is the past Thanos we're talking about here, because the present day Thanos, he dies. Thor chops his head off. The past Thanos basically goes into Nebula's mind, steals all of her, uncovers the plot that they're trying to do, and basically kidnaps the present Nebula and uses her to uses the past Nebula to go into the future, which is the present, to go back to the present, and basically summon him there. Which she successfully does, and at the same time that this is happening, the Avengers have successfully grabbed all the Infinity Stones. Iron Man crafts a brand new helmet. I said gauntlet. And basically, it relies on Hulk, basically, or Professor Hulk, if you will, because it's Bruce Banner in Hulk's body, literally. And you'll see why I mean that when I talk about the characters. So basically, Hulk brings back all the heroes, but they get attacked by the past Thanos, who uses his ship to basically destroy Avengers. Let's say Avengers HQ. Basically, destroy Avengers HQ. And in the process of all of this happening, he sends the past Nebula to go steal the gauntlet, which Hawkeye had because it was in his position, because he was right next to it when when everything blew up. It worked. So push. Okay, so now we're at the second half. We're already at the second half, but this is the best part of the movie in my personal opinion. So basically, Thanos is sitting there waiting because he knows exactly that they're going to come after him because they know that he's there. So he just sat there patiently while Thor, Iron Man, and Captain America are sitting there just watching him, thinking, what are they going to do? So they go to fight Thanos, right? And you would think that as without the gauntlet, you would think that they would have an advantage, right? Wrong. Completely wrong. Thanos bodies all of them. It's like, seriously, like, he took out Iron Man in like 2 or 3 hits, for God's sakes. He took out Iron Man in like 2 or 3 hits and was fighting Captain America and Thor for the majority of the time. Specifically Thor. And Thor, keep in mind, at this point, Thor had 2 hammers. He had the Stormbreaker axe and he had the regular hammer that he took from the past. I told you guys they went to the past. He stole one of the hammers. He's fighting Thanos, valiantly. He's the only one standing, fighting Thanos valiantly, but Thanos overpowers Thor. And keep in mind, Thor is out of shape. Thor is seriously out of shape. I feel like if he was in his prime, he probably would have lasted a bit longer. But the man, like, he had a fat gut, a beer belly gut, man. Like, it was. Oh, good lord. We're gonna get to the character very soon, folks. But still, Thanos wrecks Thor and is about to kill him with his own axe until one of the biggest moments of the scene. This right here elicited a reaction in my theater. It elicited a huge reaction. Everybody was like, "Oh my God!" Everybody was cheering, and it was when Captain America saved Thor's life, because what did he do? He threw Thor's original hammer at the man, as in Captain America wielded Thor's hammer. You folks, that right there, that was a beautiful moment right there. So then he starts wrecking Thanos, because at this point Thor's already down. So it's now Captain America, shield in one hand, Thor's hammer in the other hand, and he's beating down on Thanos, and he seems to have the upper hand at first, but then Thanos wrecks him down. And if I'm talking about this a lot, that's because this is my literal favorite scene in the whole movie. Like, give me the second half of the movie, this right here was beautiful. So then But Thanos gains the upper hand. Basically destroys Captain America's shield and tosses the hammer away and is about to basically wail down on Captain America before he says, you know what? Before he says screw it. He summons his entire army, which is from the present, but this is the past Thanos. He summons the entire army and has them come here to try to take over the Earth. And one of the best set pieces in the entire movie. It's the kind of shit that would make the perfect screensaver on your phone or like wallpaper. It was beautiful. It was Captain America with his broken shield in one hand. I don't think he had the hammer, but he may have. Captain America standing above all odds with the shield, broken shield on his hand, looking at an entire army of Thanos' entire army and Thanos himself. And he's standing there about ready to fight them until portals start appearing. Portals start appearing everywhere. That's where these are Doctor Strange's magic portals. He summoned every single available hero, soldier, the monks from the temple, as well as and Black Panther comes in. Spider-Man came out. Everybody cheered for Spider-Man. Spider-Man came out. Pepper came out with her own iron. What was that? I forgot the name of her. She had her own Iron Man suit basically, and I think she was called Rescue, but I'm not too sure about that. Don't quote me. But still. She came out. T'Challa with his kingdom came out. Good lord, it was beautiful. It was literally Earth versus Thanos' army, and then that's when Captain America utters the immortal words "Avengers Assemble." So then they go and they have a big brawl. Everybody's fighting. Everybody's getting their moment in, and throughout this entire thing, everybody's trying to get the stones back to the past, because that's exactly what that's what they were supposed to do. Because in order to not screw with the timeline and make alternate futures, they had to put the stones back where they belong at the point in time when they were taken. And the entire time Thanos is trying to get the stones back himself. So this all culminates into basically, literally, Iron Man versus Thanos, because Thanos has the stones. And Iron Man fights with Thanos. Tries to get the glove off of him. Realizes he couldn't do it, and right when Thanos is about to snap his fingers, he does so, only to realize he doesn't have the stones. Iron Man put the stones in his own Iron Man armor and snapped all of Thanos' armies away. Every single person. And I think Gamora too, but I'm not too sure about that. But yeah, he snaps all of them away. Thanos is defeated. The heroes have won, but Iron Man dies in the process. Everybody says their goodbyes. There's a huge ceremony celebrating the life of Tony Stark, his funeral, his I think his will or a final message he left behind, and then basically the movie ends with Captain America having to return the stones back to where they were, right? But this man, this clever man, not only did he successfully return the stones, but he stayed behind. When? In the 1970s. Basically the time when the love of his life. What the hell was her name? The name escaped me at the moment, but basically he went back in time and stayed in the past to stay with his love, because they see him in the future as an old man, like a 70-something-year-old man, and basically Captain America is there. He remembers everything because he just stayed in the past. He didn't go back to the future. He just stayed in the past, and he basically he gave Sam Wilson, you guys know Falcon, he gave Sam Wilson the shield because Sam Wilson's now the new Captain America, and basically that's the end of the movie right then and there. Beautiful moment right there. Really made me cry because the two biggest characters. Oh, by the way, I missed one big action part too. In one of the scenes, they had to get the Soul Stone. As you guys know, in order to get the Soul Stone, somebody has to die, right? Guess who died for the stone? Black Widow. It was her. It was either going to be her or Hawkeye. To be honest, I kind of wanted it to be more her than Hawkeye, because Hawkeye got a family, man. That man, he went rogue because he lost a family. So, low-key, I was kind of happy, but I was also sad, too, because it's like, not Black Widow. And, yeah, that's pretty much it right there. It's like, I know I glossed over a huge chunk of the movie, but, you have to forgive me here. I saw the movie all the way on Sunday, and I'm deciding only now to make the review. So, that's right there for the story. In terms of pace, the pacing was great. The beginning, the middle, and the end did not feel like they were dragging on at all. They were at the entire experience, and keep in mind, this movie was 3 hours, so yeah, it definitely had enough time for every single piece. I felt like if it wasn't 3 hours long, this probably would have been a lot of cuts that weren't very, very much unnecessary. But otherwise, the flow of the movie was smooth throughout, and like the ending was it was the perfect part of the movie, in my opinion. And then the characters themselves, good lord, I loved every single actor. They played their roles well, especially the ones who knew that they weren't going to be returning to play those characters. Scarlett Johansson, she knew she wasn't going to be playing Black Widow no more, so she played Black Widow to the best of her abilities. Especially Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr., arguably the best two actors right there, because they knew that it was an end of an era, so they played their parts perfectly well. Like, they knew that this is the last time that I'm going to be playing this character. I'm going to mark my territory to make it so that mark my territory. I'm going to make it so that everybody knows that I am Iron Man or I am Captain America. And boy, oh boy, did they do that. Hulk was hilarious. Mark Ruffalo. Hulk was very, very freaking hilarious. Because he was basically a hybrid of Hulk and Bruce Banner. They called him Professor Hulk, and he was a hybrid, and he was funny. But in my opinion, the four funniest people in that whole movie was Rocket Raccoon, Thor, Hulk, and Scott Lang, also known as Ant-Man. I keep calling him Scott Lang because there's also a guy named Hank Pym who was Ant-Man too, and the two are confusing me. So I'm going to say Scott Lang. So yeah, especially Thor. Like I told you guys, Thor was definitely nice and chunky. He was very chunky. He gained a lot of weight and lost his will to fight throughout the movie, because after he killed Thanos, he didn't feel accomplished because he killed the past Thanos, not the future not the present. He killed the present Thanos without much of a fight, and even though he killed him, nothing changed. And it demoralized him. It demoralized him. Made him feel like he's not really, the God of Thunder. He had a very interesting character arc where he met his mom in the past, and his mom had to reassure him that he is who he's supposed to be. And that was beautiful right there. Rocket Raccoon played a supporting role very, very nicely. As you know, Thor's I want to say guide, like his Jiminy Cricket, because he was there to help out Thor whenever Thor had a problem. Hell, Thor joined the Guardians of the Galaxy at the end of the movie, for God's sakes. So yeah, you could definitely tell they're gonna have a lot more adventures with him. Let me talk about the ending. Thanos, by the way. Thanos, I forgot the guy's name who played Thanos. But basically, Thanos definitely did his part. The past version, because it's the past version that's the main bad guy here. The past version of Thanos definitely played his part well. He knew the events. He knew the events of what happened in the future, and he basically, accepted exactly what was going to happen and said everything was destiny. I like that a lot. And everybody at the end of the movie, all the heroes that came back, they definitely had a chance to shine. I definitely felt like no two characters didn't. It definitely felt like no one character outshone the other in the movie. Like, that's in my opinion though. But otherwise, really, really good. I love this movie. Like I said, it's my favorite movie, but it's not a perfect movie, because there's a lot of inconsistencies with this movie, especially concerning time. Because two things happened in this movie that really confused me. Number one, what on earth is going to happen when the past Thanos is killed in the present day? Like, the past Thanos was killed in the present day, so shouldn't that mean that Thanos shouldn't have existed at all? And then on top of that, you also have the past Nebula, who was killed, and basically they couldn't take her. The past Nebula was killed, so that means that the future Nebula should be dead, right? But no, she was alive. It's crazy. It's really me being kind of nitpicky, but it's like I kind of want some consistency, especially when you're talking about the time, because they made time a very big subject in this movie. They had to get the time stone from the I want to say it's the ancient one, but from the person who first called themselves Doctor Strange. Well, the first person to hold the time stone, which is, I believe, the ancient one, or is it somebody else, some kind of master? Doctor Strange's mentor, basically. And basically, she said, if you met, they even said it. Before we even get to that, Bruce Banner himself said, if you mess with time, you're going to get a different future. It's going to mess up the future. And then the lady herself, the bald lady with the time stone, said, taking the time stones and messing with the past is going to create alternate futures, which Bruce countered by saying, if you put the stones back, then everything should be going as smoothly as possible. But things already changed. Like, when they were in the past, Loki took the space stone, Loki took, I want to say, the Power Stone, because that was what was powering the Cosmic Cube. But yeah, he took the Power Stone and basically disappeared with it. So what's going to happen to Loki in the future? We'll have to wait and see, because it basically opens up a lot of opportunities for movies in the near future. So we'll have to wait and see. But other than that, I'm giving this movie 4.75 stars. 4 and 3/4 stars. I'm not going to call it a perfect movie, because it did have its issues here and there, mostly with the storytelling and the time consistency, the time inconsistency. But otherwise, I enjoyed this movie. I have no regrets over this movie. This is the perfect movie to end the Marvel Cinematic Universe on. But of course, they're going to continue, because Disney likes making money and Marvel is money. Because as of me saying this movie grossed over 1 point something billion in the opening weekend. From Friday to now, that movie, from Friday to I want to say Sunday, that movie made $1 billion something, man. That's a record right there. They broke records, smashed records. I think they said it made a couple hundred. I think they said $300 or $500 million in its first day. That's crazy. That means people watch that movie several times at once at the theater, and that's nuts. That's nuts to think about, man. But yeah, I've talked so much about this that I've left out literally no time to talk about video game stuff. Literally no time. So I'm gonna keep it short and brief, right? So basically, in terms of video game stuff, it's I really don't have a lot to say in terms of video game news. The only thing is that as I'm recording this video, I'm talking about the PlayStation Plus offerings. And they're kind of crap, if you ask in my personal opinion. But that's because I'm a guy who likes playing games that, like playing action games not emotional storytelling games. I don't like playing those kind of games. The PlayStation Plus games this month, if I'm not correct, are What Remains of Edith Finch and Overcooked 2. Those games are good. They're just not for me, man. Last month we had Conan Exiles and The Surge. How do we go from those kind of games to playing a game about uncovering the death of uncovering an entire family's death? Like, it's just very to me personally. But otherwise, I have no real problem with it, and but I don't have a problem with it. I'm just not gonna get. I'm gonna get the games because free is free. Probably not gonna play them ever, but free is free. And one more thing too, like Days Gone came out last Friday around the same time Avengers did, and I've heard a lot of good things, but I've also heard that the game is like a veritable mixed bag because a lot of people hate, a lot of people don't like it, a lot of people do like it. It's literally a 50-50 split down the middle with this game, and to be honest with you guys, the game looks interesting enough to me to warrant a purchase, but not a full $60 purchase. And also, one more thing, and I actually forgot about this until now that I'm thinking about it. I thought that they were going to put Persona 5 on the Switch, right? When they showed Persona 5S, they finally revealed it last week, and it turns out it's not going to be that. It's going to be a Dynasty Warriors style game. Dynasty Warriors. I like the Dynasty Warriors series. I forgot the guy's name. Was it Muso? Yeah, it's a Muso game. So you guys know how it is. It's going to be big open field fighting drones and a whole bunch of drones all at once. That's for some people, right? And it's good, but at the same time, I'm pretty sure they would have probably made more money if they put Persona 5 on the Switch. Because a lot of people are not going to buy this game for that reason. But only the dedicated Persona fans are. I'm saying if you have there's what? How many Switches are there in the world right now? I think they said 30-something million Switches in the world. If there are 30 million Switches in the world, and you want to get it, I'm pretty sure if you had released Persona 5 on the Switch, you would have probably have reached even a quarter of that much. You probably would have made more money than you did on the PlayStation, if you ask me. Especially if you sold it at like $30 or $20, like you're doing so on the PlayStation right now. But I know there's definitely going to be some Persona fans out there that's probably going to attack me for it, and I completely understand why you would attack me. But once again, no. You're telling me that you're going to buy for $60. You're going to buy Persona 5 Scramble. That's what the game's called. Persona 5 Scramble. You're going to buy a Dynasty Warriors style Persona game where you get to use Joker and the rest of them. Like, I've never played a Persona game, but I was always interested in getting Persona 5, but now I don't want it. Now I don't want to buy Persona 5 even on the PlayStation 4 now, because I wanted to play that game on the go, because I heard it's an RPG that's going to last you 100 plus hours, and it's like, I ain't got time for all that on my PlayStation. I already got enough games as it is in my backlog without waiting on Persona to finish. But it is what it is. At one point, I might buy Persona on the PlayStation 4. Hopefully, in the future, they put Persona on the Switch. I'm not gonna lie, if they do, if they put it on the Switch right after I buy it on the PS4, I'm gonna get pissed. But that's literally it in terms of gaming news. I told you guys I was gonna give you guys some stuff. I literally scrounged out the things, like it just came in my head. The game stuff just came in my head. But yeah, the most important part of this video was the Avengers review. Now, once again, this is my first time ever giving a review, and I apologize for the length because I just had to talk about the final act scene, because that's my literal favorite part of the whole movie, and I wanted to thank you guys for literally staying there and bearing it all with me. Now, once again, if you guys got any kind of advice you want to give to me, please give me that advice, because I need that kind of advice in order to improve the content on my channel. Also, I'm going back to doing my regular weekly uploads and stuff like that. So if you guys don't see the video uploaded today, odds are you'll probably see it uploaded tomorrow. But I'm also going to be streaming again. Like, for example, I'm making this video on Wednesday. So if you don't see me, so if it doesn't come up now, I'm definitely going to be streaming on YouTube tonight, and I'm streaming on Twitch tomorrow. Like Tuesday, I was streaming on Twitch. Thursday, I'm going to stream on Twitch. So, follow me there if you want to. Otherwise, that's literally it for the video, you guys. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure to leave a like. Comment what you think about Avengers and what did you think about the gaming news, and subscribe to my channel if you are new, because I'm trying to reach 100 subs by the end of the year, at least 100 subs, and I can only do that with your help. That's literally all I have to say. I have been your UnFadingRocket. I have been sitting very uncomfortably on my chair throughout, and I will see you guys later on the next video. Peace.